What's up, guys? This is LaserMonkey. Welcome back. And with two new magnetic Pyraminxes on the market, being the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx and the Chi-E X-Man Bell magnetic Pyraminx, which one is better? Which one should you get? Now let me start off this video by saying that if you still have one of these old Shangshao ball-bearing Pyraminxes, this is one of the few puzzles where I think if you upgrade your hardware, it will drastically improve your times. This thing is awful in comparison to the new magnetic Pyraminxes on the market. So if you're still on one of these, I think it's a no-brainer. You should definitely upgrade. Now getting into the comparison between these two, appearance is very similar. The Moyu is slightly bigger at 100 millimeters versus 96.4, and the opening in the middle of the edge pieces is bigger on the Moyu than on the X-Man, barely. Getting into tip performance, on my model, the tips are pretty good on some of the Moyu tips, and others are just awful. On the X-Man, they're all about the same, very, very clicky. Extremely clicky. Actually, if you try and misalign this tip, it won't misalign, which is very interesting. It's very difficult to get it to not snap into place. That's the only place where it won't happen, but if it's anywhere else, it'll snap into place. So the magnets are definitely very strong on the X-Man, but on the Moyu, and a tip here, you can see that the magnets are not nearly that strong. And it is only when you get very close does it actually hold the tip in place. Getting into turning, the Moyu has very nice, fast, and smooth turning. There isn't too much interruption from the magnets when you're turning. It just offers a little bit of a click and helps keep the puzzle in alignment. So when you're turning, it kind of stops when you get to the magnet. On the X-Man, it's very different. The magnets are extremely strong. You can be slightly misaligned and it just snaps into place, where that doesn't happen on the Moyu. So this one definitely uses the magnets to try and pull the pieces, and the magnets are extremely strong, so you're not going to accidentally misalign these layers. The problem that creates is that the turning, it's hard to turn because there's a lot of resistance from the magnets inside of the layers. It definitely keeps the puzzle in its shape all the time, but it definitely makes the turning slower just because there is so much resistance, and it makes it harder to turn. However, if you have a turning style where you use flicks like this, I think this is going to be better for you, because as you can see, when I flick, it automatically snaps into place, whereas if I tried to do that same thing on the Moyu, it's not as consistent with that, because it's more made for this kind of turning, right? So the X-Man definitely has much more difficult turning, I'm gonna say. But if you have smaller hands and you have a certain turning style, this might be for you. However, I am going to recommend the Moyu to most people, just because it's bigger, so unless you have really small hands, you're probably going to prefer the grip that this puzzle offers. The clicking isn't that obnoxious as it is on the X-Man, where here it feels like you're turning some bricks, and here it feels like you're turning a nice smooth puzzle. So definitely the Moyu is going to be my main for sure. It's definitely a lot nicer to turn, and probably going to be the better Pyraminx for most people out there. The X-Man, definitely not for my turning style, but if you have that type of turning style that appreciates the severe clicking and stoppage of layers here, then I think this is definitely going to be good for you, especially if you have really small hands. It definitely is noticeably smaller than the Moyu. But that's about it for my comparison between these two Pyraminxes. Definitely both excellent Pyraminxes and huge upgrades over any old Pyraminx. But I think the Moyu is going to be the better Pyraminx for most people out there. So that's about it for my comparison between the two magnetic Pyraminxes on the market right now. Definitely both fantastic Pyraminxes, but I think the Moyu is going to be better for most people. Thanks so much for watching. This is LaserMonkey. Out.